Let's talk about something that almost no one talks about, what a man actually needs right after he releases in you. See, most people focus on the build up, the tension, the chemistry, the passion. But the truth is, it's what happens after that moment that decides how deeply a man connects with you. Because right after he releases, his body may relax, but his emotions, they're wide open. That's when he's most vulnerable, even if he doesn't show it. This is the moment when his guard drops, when he's not trying to impress you or play a role, he's just himself. And that's when a woman's energy either makes him feel safe and emotionally connected, or it makes him pull away. Here's the secret that most women miss. Men don't fall for the act. They fall for the feeling of being accepted, the feeling of calm after the storm, the feeling that what just happened wasn't just physical, it was something real. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what men secretly crave in that quiet, tender space afterward. The 5 things they need that most women don't even realize matter. Because when you understand how to show up in that moment, you don't just touch his body, you touch his heart. Before we dive in, I want to know, where are you watching this from right now? Drop it in the comments below, whether you're tuning in from New York, London, Sydney, or somewhere cozy in your room late at night. I love knowing where this incredible community of confident, self-aware, magnetic women is connecting from. Let's get into it. One of the biggest things men won't say out loud, but feel deeply, is how much they crave reassurance after intimacy. Not through words like, did you enjoy that? Or was that good for you? But through your energy, because in that quiet space right after release, his body might be calm, but his emotions are quietly scanning for cues. How you look at him, how you touch him, how you stay with him. You see, during that moment of physical release, a man experiences a flood of oxytocin followed by a drop in dopamine. His body relaxes, his breathing slows, and for a few moments he's at his most unguarded. It's a beautiful vulnerability, but it can also make him feel exposed if your energy suddenly shifts. If you roll away, check your phone, or become distant, his subconscious reads that as emotional rejection, even if it's unintentional. That's why reassurance matters so much, not in a needy, over the top way, but in that soft, feminine energy that says, you're safe here. It's the way your hand lingers on his chest, the way your breathing matches his, or the way you look at him with quiet satisfaction instead of rushing to move on. Those small, subtle gestures tell him everything he needs to know, that you're not just here for the act, you're here for him. When a man feels that reassurance from a woman, that sense of calm, warmth, and presence, something powerful happens inside him. His body relaxes, but his mind connects. He starts to associate you with that peace, that grounding energy that makes him feel whole. That's how deep emotional bonds begin, not from constant talking or grand romantic gestures, but from a few seconds of silent, genuine connection. What most women don't realize is that men often measure emotional safety through physical closeness. When you stay close after, when you trace lazy circles on his skin or run your fingers gently through his hair, you're not just being affectionate, you're communicating without words. You're saying, I'm still here, I'm not leaving this moment. And to a man, that reassurance is everything. It's not about being clingy, it's about being attuned. Because emotional reassurance doesn't mean smothering him, it means grounding him. You become that calming presence that allows him to come down from the high, not with loneliness, but with comfort. That's when he starts to trust you on a deeper level, even if he doesn't fully understand why. Think about it. In the same way women often want emotional reassurance before intimacy, men crave emotional reassurance after it. It's their equivalent of feeling safe enough to let go, to be seen beyond the surface. When you give him that, when your touch says you're enough, when your energy says, I'm happy to be right here, it goes straight to his core. And here's the part most women underestimate. When you provide that quiet reassurance, you make him want to give more of himself next time, because you've turned what could have been a physical release into an emotional experience. He walks away thinking, that wasn't just sex, that was connection. So the next time you're lying there with him, resist the urge to rush out of the moment. Just stay. Let your body language do the talking. Breathe with him. Be soft. Be still. That's the reassurance that doesn't need words, the one that seeps into his memory and stays there long after the night ends. Because the truth is, the most powerful thing you can give a man after intimacy isn't another round, it's your presence, the warmth of your body, the calm in your energy, the softness that says, You're safe with me. That's what he remembers. That's what he craves again. And that's what makes him fall, not just for the moment, but for you. After that intense, beautiful moment between you and him, something subtle but powerful happens. The energy changes. His body is still, his breathing slows, and the room suddenly feels quieter. It's in this in-between space that many women unintentionally pull away, not because they don't care, but because they assume the connection has already done its job. But for a man, this is the moment that defines everything. You see, right after he releases, his body experiences a huge hormonal shift. Physically, he's relaxed, but emotionally, he's in a strange, delicate state. His defenses are down, his mind is still buzzing. And for a few minutes, he's not the confident, composed version of himself you see during the act. He's raw, exposed, human. That's when your presence becomes the anchor that keeps him emotionally safe. When a woman stays present, when she breathes with him, stays close, and lets that quiet energy linger, something magical happens. He feels accepted. He feels that she's still with him, not just physically, but emotionally. But when she detaches, when she rolls over, checks her phone, gets up to fix her hair, or immediately talks about something unrelated, it sends an unconscious signal that the intimacy was purely physical. And that's when he starts to retreat, not out of anger or ego, but because the emotional bridge just got broken. What you might see as harmless detachment, his subconscious interprets as disconnection. He starts to feel like the experience was one-sided, like it ended the moment he released. And that's exactly what makes him emotionally distant over time. But when you stay present, when you choose to stay in the silence, you give him something he didn't even know he needed: emotional grounding. You show him that the connection doesn't vanish once the pleasure fades. You tell him without a single word, I'm not done being here with you. You don't need to talk. You don't need to perform. Just be there. Maybe your hand rests on his chest. Your head stays on his shoulder, or you lightly play with his hair. That simple presence says 1,000 things. I feel safe with you. I'm content right now. You don't need to do anything more. That's the language of presence. And men feel it deeply. The truth is, staying present isn't about doing. It's about being. When you can sit in that quiet intimacy without needing to fill it with words or movement, it shows emotional maturity. It shows comfort, not just in him, but in yourself. Because it takes a grounded woman to stay in that stillness and not need to escape it. And that's what draws him in even more. When you stay emotionally steady, you allow him to stay open. You become the safe space where he can relax, unwind, and just exist. In a world that constantly asks men to be strong, stoic, and in control, that few minutes of silent connection feels like heaven. Presence also builds contrast, and contrast is magnetic. When he feels that calm, steady energy from you after all the intensity, it hits him harder than any physical touch could. It reminds him that what you share isn't just passion, it's peace. And that peace is addictive. So the next time you're tempted to grab your phone, get up or distract yourself. Don't. Instead, breathe. Look at him. Stay connected to his energy, even in silence. Let the quiet speak for you, because that's when he feels seen, not just as a lover, but as a man. He doesn't just want your body, he wants your presence, that unspoken assurance that says, I'm not running from this moment. Because when you stay present, he doesn't just remember how good the night felt, he remembers how good you felt. And that's what keeps him coming back, not for more release, but for more of you. This one's a delicate dance. Because right after that powerful, intimate moment, a man enters a state of deep physical and emotional stillness. His body chemistry is changing, his mind is settling. It's not that he doesn't want to be close, it's that his system is recalibrating. In that moment, he needs space but not distance. And if you can understand that difference, you'll connect with him in a way that most women never do. Here's the science behind it. After a man releases, his body produces prolactin, the hormone responsible for that heavy, satisfied feeling that makes him want to rest. His dopamine levels drop, and suddenly his brain switches from intense focus to quiet recovery. That's why he may fall silent, stare at the ceiling, or seem lost in thought. It's not disinterest, it's biology, but how you respond to that moment, that pause, decides whether he feels emotionally connected or emotionally cornered. See, when some women notice that shift, they panic a little. They start asking questions, what are you thinking? Or did something change? They might even interpret his silence as emotional withdrawal. But what he really needs is room to breathe without feeling abandoned. Giving space doesn't mean leaving the bed, turning away, or going cold. It means allowing quietness without taking it personally. It's about holding space, not creating space. You stay there, maybe gently tracing patterns on his arm, maybe saying nothing at all, but your energy remains warm and available. That tells him, I'm not demanding anything from you right now. I'm just here. And that kind of presence, balanced with light space, is unbelievably grounding for a man because it gives him permission to be. Without having to explain, perform, or fix anything, it tells him that you understand something deeper than most. That connection doesn't always need constant interaction. Sometimes it just needs comfort in the quiet. When you master this balance, you become unforgettable because most people either smother or pull away. Few know how to sit in the in between. The woman who does becomes magnetic. She gives him space to process, but not so much that he feels disconnected. She gives him calm, but not absence. Think of it this way. Emotional space after intimacy is like the exhale after a deep breath. It's necessary. It's natural. But if you fill that space with tension, overthinking, or questions, you disrupt the flow. If instead you stay relaxed, quiet smile, soft presence, no rush to change the energy, he feels safe. And when a man feels safe right after intimacy, he doesn't retreat. He melts. You can even sense when to move closer again, maybe after a few minutes when he naturally turns toward you or when he lets out that small sigh that says he's back in the moment. When that happens, your gentle energy feels like home because you gave him the space he needed without punishing him for needing it. That balance makes you stand out. It tells him you're emotionally intelligent, attuned, and confident enough not to take silence as rejection. You trust the connection enough to let the energy breathe. So next time you notice that post-intimacy pause, don't rush it, don't fix it, just be still with him. Let the silence do its work. Because when you give him space without pulling away, he doesn't feel alone, he feels understood. And that's rare. When a man feels that kind of emotional understanding from a woman, it changes the way he sees her. She's not just the woman he sleeps with, she's the woman who gets him. The one who knows when to hold close, when to stay silent, and when to let the moment just be. That's the kind of woman he never forgets. There's a moment after intimacy when the physical fades and all that's left is silence. And that's when the right words can melt a man's heart. But not just any words, I'm talking about emotional affirmation, the kind that doesn't flatter his ego but touches his soul. After he's released, a man may not show it, but he's often at his most emotionally open and most unsure. For a few minutes, his body relaxes, but his mind starts to question, was I enough? Did she enjoy that? Does this mean something to her? Or was it just physical? He may never say those things out loud, but they echo quietly in the back of his head. And this is where your emotional intelligence becomes magnetic, because when a woman knows how to affirm him in that moment with sincerity, warmth, and softness, it doesn't just make him feel good. It grounds him. It lets him know he's not just wanted for what he gave, but for who he is. You don't need grand declarations or deep, heavy talks. It's the small, genuine phrases that make the difference. When you whisper something like, I love how close I feel to you right now, or that felt amazing with you, you're doing more than complimenting him. You're emotionally validating him. You're telling him this mattered. That affirmation reassures him that what just happened wasn't a one-way exchange of pleasure. It was a shared emotional connection. And the beautiful thing is, when a man feels emotionally affirmed right after intimacy, his heart opens wider than you can imagine. Because while his body might be satisfied, it's his spirit that craves to be seen. When a woman speaks gently into that post-intimacy silence, not with interrogation, not with praise, but with appreciation, it hits him differently. It makes him feel safe, valued, and emotionally connected. It's the difference between him thinking, that was great, and she gets me. Emotional affirmation is about recognition. It's about letting him know you see him, not just as someone who satisfies you physically, but as a man who made you feel connected. It could be something as simple as a contented sigh, a whispered, you feel so good to me, or even a soft laugh that breaks the quiet and says, we're still here together. Those little moments speak volumes. Because here's the truth after intimacy, men don't want validation of their performance. They want validation of their presence. They want to feel that what they brought into that space, their focus, their passion, their vulnerability mattered. And when you offer that, it deepens his emotional tie to you in ways he doesn't even understand. It's also important to be authentic. Men can feel when words are mechanical or forced. The power of emotional affirmation comes from sincerity, from truly meaning it. When your tone is soft, your eyes are warm, and your words come from genuine feeling, it lands in his heart, not just his ears. And when that happens, something powerful forms between you. He starts to associate you with emotional safety, the kind of woman who doesn't just share the physical high, but the emotional afterglow, the one who reminds him that intimacy isn't just an act, it's an exchange of souls. So don't underestimate the power of a few simple words after, because for a man, that affirmation isn't small. It's everything. It's the reassurance that he's not just another body, but someone who made an impact. When you combine your softness with genuine appreciation, you create a moment that lingers long after you've both drifted off to sleep, because long after the physical fades, he'll remember that your voice, your warmth, your words that told him you're enough. Here's the truth: most people miss what happens after the passion is just as powerful as what happens during it. Because when the moment fades and you're both lying there in the soft quiet, that's when connection truly begins. And for a man, this is where the emotional memory gets created. This is where he decides, often without realizing it, whether what just happened was just physical or something meaningful. Men may not talk about it, but they crave continuity. They want to feel that the connection you shared doesn't vanish when the intensity does. That the closeness isn't limited to the bed, but flows naturally into how you touch him, how you look at him, how you stay connected after. That's what builds emotional addiction. When you turn that post-intimacy moment into something playful, affectionate, or tender, you extend the bond. Maybe you tease him softly, trace your finger along his jawline, or share a quiet laugh about something that happened earlier. It keeps the emotional current alive, because what he really wants isn't just release, it's relaxation with connection. It's knowing that you can go from passion to peace and still feel the same closeness. Too many people let the connection end too soon. The moment it's over, one person rolls away or the atmosphere shifts. But a woman who knows how to carry that energy forward, who can keep the chemistry alive even in calmness, leaves a mark on a man's heart that he won't forget. When you look at him afterward and smile, when you hold him for a while longer, when you let your energy stay warm and light, you're showing that intimacy doesn't have an expiration point. You're saying, I'm not done feeling close to you yet. And that subtle message changes everything. He starts to crave that emotional flow, that feeling of being seen and wanted beyond the physical act. You've given him something that goes deeper than pleasure. You've given him emotional safety disguised as affection. That's what makes him miss you, think of you when he's alone, and feel that pull back toward you again and again. Because let's be honest, anyone can create heat, but not everyone can create warmth. The heat is what gets his attention, but the warmth is what keeps his heart. And the way you treat him after that release, the softness in your touch, the playfulness in your tone, the comfort in your presence, that's what builds the warmth he remembers. When you show him that your energy doesn't just fade when the act ends, he sees you differently. You're not just the woman who turns him on, you're the woman who grounds him. You're the calm after his storm, the softness that follows intensity. And that balance, that contrast is what makes you unforgettable. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do after is something simple. Resting your hand on his, smiling as you say, you make me feel so connected, or sharing a quiet inside joke that reminds him you're not just lovers, you're partners in energy. Those small moments tell him we're still in this together. And here's the secret. When you extend that connection beyond the bed, he starts to connect you to a sense of peace he can't find anywhere else. You become the person he doesn't just want. You become the person he needs. Because for a man, the memory that lingers isn't the act itself. It's the feeling that followed it, the warmth, the laughter, the closeness that didn't disappear when the lights dimmed. That's what keeps his mind returning to you. So never underestimate what happens after, because when you can make him feel loved, grounded, and connected after he's released, that's when you stop being a moment in his life and start becoming a memory he can't let go of. So here's the truth. What a man needs right after he releases in you isn't complicated, but it's powerful. It's not about grand gestures or saying the perfect line. It's about how you make him feel in those quiet, unspoken moments. The way you stay close, the way your energy reassures him, the way you give him space without pulling away. That's what stays with him, because men might chase pleasure, but what they remember is peace. The peace they feel when they're with a woman who gets them, who sees beyond the act and connects with the heart behind it. When you show him that warmth, presence, and softness afterward, you're not just giving him physical satisfaction, you're giving him emotional security. And that, more than anything, is what keeps him craving you. Now I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now. I love knowing where this amazing community of confident, magnetic women is tuning in from. If this message spoke to you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because when you understand what men truly need after intimacy, you become the woman he can never forget.